This one. Right. So good evening, everybody. Right. So welcome to the induction session for Lead with Influence. And it's going to be a short session, not a very long one, where we will briefly touch what do we mean by lead with influence. And we'll try to see uh, what was there in today's challenge and what is going to come for the next 6 days. Right. Right. So just give me a second. I'll just put a presentation on. Yes. Are you able to see this?
Yes.
Right. So a question to both of you. What do
Yeah.
you mean by influence? Influence से आपके समझ में क्या आता है?
Influence which has an impact on
Impact?
the
Okay.
audience, or maybe the participant, or maybe the person whom you are
Okay.
interviewing.
Okay. Any thoughts, Jasmine?
Influence for me is just like leading by an example.
Leading by example. Okay, wonderful. It is all of this thing. I was looking up in the dictionary, and dictionary में मुझे ये meaning मिला उसका कि power to affect, change and control somebody or something. या जैसे हम हिंदी में कहें तो वो शक्ति जिससे हम किसी व्यक्ति या वस्तु को प्रभावित कर सके, परिवर्तन ला सके और नियंत्रित कर सके. Right? So if
Right.
we talk about influence, it is the ability to affect behavior of others in a particular direction, right? And this we do by using involvement, connect, and inspiration. So you try to influence people by involving them, by connecting with them, and inspiring them, right?
Right.
Now, this is something which leadership does, right? So leadership is all about influence. It is your ability to influence your subordinates, your peers, your bosses, and anybody else who's part of your organizational context, right?
Yes.
Now, this is one very, very interesting quote. I like it personally very much because this sums up for me leadership as well as communication. If you just communicate, you can get by. But if you communicate skillfully, you can work miracles. Right? आप अभी भी तो communicate तो कर ही रहे हैं ना राम?
Right.
Right? आप बात तो करते ही है ना सबसे, काम तो आपका चल ही जा रहा है.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
लेकिन चमत्कार नहीं हो रहा है. Right? तो वो चमत्कार कहाँ से आता है? That comes from influence, and that influence is possible only when we learn to communicate skillfully, because 70% leadership failures होते हैं because of poor communication skills, right? And
Yeah.
because so many things are involved, right?
Right.
So effective communication, leadership will happen only when you have effective communication in your kitty, right?
Right.
There is a difference. बहुत टाइम क्या होता है, people collapse management with leadership. Are they the same?
No, it's
No.
two
They are,
different things. Yes.
what is the difference? One is managers bring about operational excellence. It's all about operations. It's getting and executing things done, right? So
Right.
leadership क्या है?
It's basically leading by example, as Jasmine already told
Example of
before.
what? To do
And
what?
to lead the team with example, to lead at the front and
Okay.
set an example,
Okay.
like proactiveness, or maybe you can call it basically someone who basically mentors
Okay. Very good.
to the junior team.
Okay. Right. You agree with that, Jasmine?
Because I think management is basically getting things done from the subordinates or from
Leaders
the team,
do
and
beyond that.
leaders ensure to facilitate the work
नो वो
done
भी
efficiently.
दैट इज देयर, बट हाँ यही एक दिक्कत आती है कि लीडरशिप को हम वहीं तक कन्फाइन कर देते हैं कि लीडर का काम है रिसोर्स प्रोवाइड करना, राइट, या
Mhm.
फैसिलिटेट करना, वो है, लेकिन लीडर का काम उससे भी ज्यादा बड़ा है. इट इज मच बिगर बिकॉज अ लीडर इंस्पायर्स. अ लीडर कैन गिव यू पर्पस. A leader can inspire passion within the team that he or she leads,
Exactly. Yeah.
right? तो लीडर का जो है ना डोमेन बहुत बड़ा है, लीडरशिप का डोमेन बहुत बड़ा है. इट इज नॉट जस्ट फैसिलिटेटिंग थिंग्स टू बी डन, it is
Right.
giving you a direction, it is giving you a destination, it is giving you a reason to
Yeah.
be there, right? And that is why it is said that the art of communication is the language of leadership. ये तभी
Right.
होगा when you, how will you uh, ignite passion in a team or inspire them? Only when you connect with them.
Connect with
And that
them.
connection will happen only through communication, isn't it?
Right.
Right? Uh, Little about myself. Ram doesn't need any introduction, but still, let me cap for him also and for Jasmine also. Well, it's been a journey of 30 years, 30 odd years, right? Most of it, of course, has been as a trainer and as an HR professional. And well, my interest in leadership has come through my own experience of heading institutions, right? Of leading teams, very diverse teams, and the experiences that I had during that journey have been some very invaluable, what shall I say, learnings for me, which I today want to share with people. And that's why I coach, right? My trainings and mentoring sessions have also been particularly with mid and senior level managers. And therefore, I understand their pain points. Having worked in that position also myself, I understand where those pains come from, right? And what I also found was that lack of good communication skills was a major contributor in their growth becoming a little stunted after a time. है ना? आप 10-15 साल की जर्नी तो बहुत इजीली कवर कर लेते हैं, लेकिन उसके बाद क्या? क्योंकि वैसे भी पिरामिड नैरो होने लगता है ना? पिरामिड नैरो होने लगता है, कंपटीशन बढ़ जाता है, और फिर अब वहां पे टू मेक अ मार्क, द डिफरेंशिएटर इज communication. The ones who can cross over are the ones who are good communicators. Of course, there is a lot of other things also, there are delivery and everything. But एक point के बाद में your domain knowledge is taken for granted. Your industry knowledge, your technical knowledge is taken for granted. But what you need now is people management.
Right.
And
Exactly.
people are driven by, and if you have to drive people, you have to communicate with them. That's the
That's
only
true.
one way, right? So,
Yes.
yes, it's been a very fruitful journey, right? Something which I cherish a lot. Last year and a half, I have been coaching one-on-one to people. And of course, I still continue with my corporate trainings, but my
Okay.
focus is more on working with individuals on a long-term basis, where I can address their individual issues and pain points and help them cross over to that, new role of senior management,
Right.
right? Now, some facts about communication. सबसे पहला फैक्ट तो क्या है? Communication is the foundation of every human relationship. Agreed, Ram?
Yes.
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 Yeah. हम तो relationship में ही जीते हैं ना. We share our experience, we connect with people, we express our feelings, we pass on information, we share thoughts. All this is part of human relationship, right? The other important fact about communication is that there is no way you cannot communicate. हम कई बार silence को ऐसे convey करते हैं कि ये हमारा communication नहीं है, लेकिन silence भी communication है. Right? So there is no situation, there is no instance in your life that you cannot not communicate. Just a second, I'll just admit Rajesh in. Right? So every human behavior is a communication.
Yeah.
Right? Every human behavior is communication. Our first communication is when we were born, right? The first cry that the baby gives is the first communication.
Right.
What is the last communication when you're lying dead? Right? Okay, that is it, the exit. Right? So every behavior is a kind of communication, and therefore communication is considered a behavior-based skill. So it is a skill, no doubt, but it is backed by a very good understanding of behavior. If you can understand human behavior, you will be an excellent communicator. That doesn't mean you have to go and start studying psychology. It's just that you have to understand people, right? So of every skill that we have, communication is perhaps the most empowering. Would you agree with that? Rajesh, feel free to join in. Welcome to the session.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Good evening. Yes, you're a bit late, but it's all right. It's better late than never.
I'm coming from my job.
Thank you so much on a Sunday. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how does communication become the most empowering skill? Any idea? It gives us a lot of skills. It teaches us how to listen to people, to observe people's non-verbal cues, to spot and control them. It helps us to speak concisely to the point. Storytelling is a very interesting, effective, and impactful way of connecting to people because we are driven by emotions. And nothing connects faster than an emotional story, than an emotional narrative, right? And if you can become a good storyteller, believe me, you can be a very good leader, right? You can share your values and your needs with people, right? And you can use language that can influence and inspire people. I mean, it can move anything, right? So if you look in history, every revolution has been powered by communication because somebody communicated to the people, this is what you need to do, isn't it? And
Right.
inspired them, gave them a higher vision, a goal, and a purpose to move in that direction. Now, I'm going to ask you a set of questions. You don't need to give me a reply, but ask yourself these questions and answer in a yes, no, and if possible, rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 being weak, 5 being excellent. Fine? Do you know the difference between awkward silence and strategic silence? How many of you have even thought about it? I can see from Ram's expression, ye kya cheez hoti hai? Right? Awkward silence is when I don't know what to speak. Strategic silence is when I want to convey a specific message and I deliberately withhold my verbal communication. I need to know where I have to speak and where I have to remain silent. It's a very powerful tool. Silence is a very powerful tool. And if you use it strategically, it's a hallmark of an excellent communicator. Are you aware that when you might be speaking excessively, we tend to over-explain, we tend to repeat ourselves, we tend to say things which are not maybe relevant to that point at that moment, right? And we talk because we think that if we talk more, we will make an impression. It doesn't work like that, right? Would you consider yourself a good listener and adept at interpreting underlying messages? Can I read between the lines? Because what is said is important, but what is left unsaid is far more important. That's a rule in communication. जो कहा जाता है verbally वो तो है ही important, लेकिन जो अनकहा है, right? What we call reading between the lines. So how good are you at that? Do you respond genuinely to others? Very important to connect. Do you convey passion and amiability in your conversations? Do people like to come and talk to you? Do they go back feeling good? Do they go back feeling inspired? Do they go back feeling motivated? Right? How many people know, respect, and trust you? Very critical question. हमें लगता है, but actually है कितने? Right? Do you avoid sounding submissive in your interactions, particularly when they are with your superiors? Right? Does your personality exclude liveliness and energy during conversations? Are you energetic? Right? So what is the level of your energy? Can you effectively articulate your points with clarity and with precision? Are you mindful of the difference in communication styles between addressing superiors and subordinates? Will it be the same? Definitely not, right? Can you express your ideas and thoughts clearly and succinctly, right? Now, I'm sure you would have got your answers, right?
Yeah.
Now, you would have also got a brief understanding of what are the areas you need to work in, right? Now, why are communication skills so important? Obviously, for all these reasons, right? Problem solving, decision making, productivity, y'all are all working people, you know that. These are everyday issues. Not possible without communication, right? See, remembering, understanding, application, these are considered as lower order thinking skills. Whereas analysis, evaluation, and creativity are considered higher order thinking skills, right? Now, the difference between followers and leaders is just this. Followers remain in the lower order thinking skills, whereas leaders are the ones who are able to manage that upward mobility. When they start moving from lower order thinking skills to higher order thinking skills, which means you start analyzing, evaluating, and getting creative solutions in your work area. That is where you start making a difference. There are certain myths about communication skills. What are your myths? Let me hear. Aapke thoughts kya hai? Rajesh, any contribution?
Yeah, communication means it is a two-way process. It is not a one-way process.
No, I'm talking about a myth. It is definitely a two-way process. I agree with that, but I'm not talking about the process of communication. I am saying, what are the myths about communication skills? Like, I'll give you an example. A lot of, in my journey as someone majorly talking about leadership and leadership communication skills, a lot of people come to me saying, we want to polish our English.
Yes.
Because if I'm good at English, I'll make it big. And many of them have examples. Oh, मेरा वो साथ वाला कलीग है ना, उसको बहुत फेवर करती है मैनेजमेंट, वो कॉन्वेंट एजुकेटेड है, बहुत पॉलिश्ड इंग्लिश बोलता है. I say, really? Right? So, the first biggest myth is that I have to be able to speak well. Right? It's a myth, believe me. You need to speak sense. You need to speak logic. You need to speak genuine. Right? That is far more important. The other myth is you have to be an extrovert. The other reason I get is, oh, I'm an introvert. My problem is I'm an introvert, that is why it's a disadvantage. No. Right? Talking too much is not going to get you anywhere, because what you're talking is more important than how much. Right? So, in fact, some of the world's greatest leaders are introverts. And who is an extrovert and an introvert? Right? And extroverts, no doubt, they are very outgoing people. They talk about themselves faster than introverts, but introverts are more inward looking. Extroverts are more outward looking. But you need to be inward looking to be able to have content. Right? So it's not a bad thing. Good communication requires good language, grammar, and words. Like I told you, people have this fixation with language. And the last is communication that results in social harmony is good. Right? Now, this is a little intense to understand. We are not okay with disagreeing with people. We believe that we have to agree with everything. Only then everything is fine. Communication is not necessary. You can disagree with people and still be able to connect with them. You can disagree with people and still be able to maintain your relationships. You can assert yourself and still be able to be a part of their life, professional or otherwise, right? And make your mark. So it is not necessary that communication, to be a good communicator, you have to agree with everything, right? And all of your communication has to bring in harmony. No, not necessary. So your ability to say no, to disagree, is also an important part of being an effective communicator. Right? Now, how communication actually enables you to lead with influence, since this is the topic we are talking about, right? So many things. You can build trust, you can align your goals and purpose, provide direction, resolve problems, manage conflicts, relationships, teamwork, and increase your engagement, right? Okay. How did the assessment go with you? You took the assessment, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes. Is it okay if I discuss those questions a little?
Yeah, yeah.
I
Sure.
was just looking at what the thing thrown up for me. Just a second. Right. So can you see this?
Can you zoom in? Zoom out?
Yeah, sure. I can do that. Are you able to see this?
Yeah, a
Better?
little up. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, okay. Yeah, no, that's good. That's good.
That's good, right? Okay. So one of the questions was, how do you ensure your message is clear and understood by your team? 63%, I got 11 responses. Out of that, majority was, I provide detailed instructions and ask for feedback, right? What do you think is most effective? Aapka choice kya tha, Ram?
The first one.
First one. Brijesh?
Yeah.
Mine was this one, third one.
I rely on my team to ask questions if they don't understand. Right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Nothing wrong with that. But then there may be some team member who's hesitant, who's not very comfortable asking questions. Will that guy not lose out?
Yes.
Right? So while this strategy does work, it is not very effective. Using various communication channels to reinforce your message is also a good strategy, because different people understand differently. Some people understand the written word better. Some people are good listeners, so they understand oral messaging better. Also, by using multiple channels of communication to reinforce your message, you ensure that your message reaches everybody. But the best way is to provide detailed instruction and then ask for feedback. Check if they have understood, right? Check if they have got that, whatever you have said, they have got it clearly, right? Okay. The next one was, just a second. Yeah, so this was I had asked to put it on a scale of 1 to 5. How confident are you in your ability to communicate complex ideas? So majority are pretty good. I mean, they're good at it, right? Okay, so this is an individual rating. Now, how often do you feel your ideas are accepted and implemented by your team and senior management? Again, here, I got occasionally as a major response, majority, right? Rarely was okay, 9.1, right? What do you think will be the most appropriate situation? As a leader, you have to ensure that it is almost always, right? So if it is occasionally, this is an area where you need to work, right? Now, coming to the next question, how do you typically respond to feedback from your team? Ram, what was your contribution?
Again, the first one.
First
I
one.
actively listen and incorporate
What
them.
about you, Rajesh?
Yeah, first one, please. Active
First
listening.
one, right? Active listening, exactly. And you incorporate their suggestions. Yes, I acknowledge it, but rarely make changes based on it is not going to work, right? And if you find it challenging to accept feedback, guess where the problem is, right? It's definitely with you. How frequently do you seek feedback from your team members about your communication style? The answer I have got here is sometimes, right? Mostly 36% people have said sometimes, right? Now, this is a very, why don't we seek feedback? Many a times because we think we don't need it. What I'm doing is right. Secondly, many a times we are not able to differentiate between criticism and feedback. And we take feedback also as a criticism.
Yeah.
Right? And then the ego comes in and, all those things happen. So we become emotionally perturbed because of that. Whereas a feedback is a very effective tool to bring about your personal growth. Because you can look at it as a compass that is guiding your actions. So if you're getting the desired feedback, a positive feedback, that means you're moving in the right direction. So you keep on increasing your efforts in that direction. But if you're getting a negative feedback, you are getting an opportunity to correct the course before it's too late, right? So the answer here should be always never hesitate to take feedback. Again, this was an individual scoring, so I will not go into it. How do you adapt your communication style to suit different team members or situations? Many times, people think communication as a one-size-fit-all strategy. It doesn't happen, right? As it is rightly indicated here, 54% says I tailor my approach based on individual preferences and needs. Yes, that's how it has to be. Because different people understand differently, they speak different language, they have different mindsets, and they have a different communication style. Having said this, it is also important to understand what is my own personal style, right? And then I need to understand from there how I need to adapt to other people's style, right? So that is also a learning. What steps do you take to improve your leadership communication skills? Now, let's see here. There is a tie between attending workshops and training sessions and seeking feedback and coaching. Both are very effective ways, right? Of course, reading books and articles on leadership will help you.
I think both should go hand in hand, both
Yeah, but
updating
that
your knowledge
learning,
and
but that
taking feedback
learning,
and
if
coaching.
you know what happens is you can read a book and then forget about it. And many a
I'm talking
times,
about like seeking knowledge, basically,
yeah,
being
absolutely,
updated.
being updated. Only updation, if you don't put it into action, is of no use. Right. Secondly, what happens is many a times we read books, we watch videos, but we don't know practically, we don't get the action steps. How do I actually put it into practice? How do I implement it? Right. And this is where training sessions can help you. But trainings, again, they remain effective for a very short
Short term.
period. But coaching helps you because you have a longer time to, interact with your coach, with your mentor, and you can go step by step. And that person can keep track, make you accountable, which is more important because if we are not given, we don't have this accountability, it's very easy to give up. The first failure and we give up. We raise our hands and say, जाने दो ये मेरे बस की बात नहीं है ना, छोड़ो मैं जैसा हूँ ठीक हूँ, right? But yeah, right. And lastly, okay, what methods do you use to build trust and rapport with your team? Now, open and honest communication is what majority have cited for. What about you, Rajesh?
Yeah, I believe in
I
open communication.
open and honest communication. Me too. Yeah.
Yeah, right. In fact, for this, to build trust and rapport, all of them are important. So, but if you just have open and honest communication, but you fail to recognize and appreciate the efforts of your team members, it's not going to be helpful. If you cannot have regular one-on-one meetings, again, that connect will not happen. Team building activities, you will not be able to bring your team at one level, to bring that cohesion, that singularity of purpose and goal. So all are important. You need to have regular one-on-one meetings. You need to have team building activities also. You need open and honest communication, and you need to recognize and appreciate the efforts of your team. Right? Because this is what will build trust and it will build rapport as well. And yeah, I think there was one on conflict. Have I missed it?
I think that we took it. I think, no?
Did we? I think I have missed that. Anyways, right? Now, coming to our challenge today. What did you think about the challenge? Any difficulty in doing this? It was a fairly simple one,
No.
isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. So what I have said over here, verbal, visual, and vocal, they come together to create your influence on your professional presence. So it's what we say, how we say, and how do we look when we are saying it. Right? That means it is also taking into consideration your non-verbal cues. It's not saying about how do you look as in your dressing sense, but it's more about what are the non-verbal cues which you subconsciously give off. Do you look confident? You may be saying something which sounds confident, but your shoulders are drooped, right? Or your hand is in your pocket, doesn't show that confidence, right? So it is everything together, vocal, verbal, and visual, your tonality, the words that you choose, and how you present them, right? Now, there are two messages here in this task. One is very obvious, which is to give a rating to these different skills, right? Which was the highest rating you could get, Rajesh? In which area? You did not send me the graphic, but you were telling me about body language being important.
Yeah,
And
body language.
no. What is your personal skill? Where do you scale it? 1 to 5. 5 is highest. 1 is I don't use the skill at all.
No, for me, the highest is body language.
Okay, you're good at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see you're lying down on your bed now. That's telling me either you're bored with what I'm saying or you're too tired after coming from work.
Yeah, I'm too tired, too tired. Guys, so
Right. So the obvious message was to rate yourself in these different this thing. तो आपको ये भी पता चला होगा कि where am I standing right now?
yes.
Right? What is a hidden message in it? There is a hidden message. Any idea? Take a guess.
You want to say listening?
No. I'm saying this whole challenge, there is a hidden idea. There is a hidden message in this challenge. Can you guess what it is? The obvious one was to give yourself a rating.
Yes.
Right? But what is a hidden message?
From my perspective, it is how to create become an influencer.
Okay. That's you're just joining point A and point B. No.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let me not waste more of your time.
Okay.
Can you see this? Can you see this? Wait, I don't need this anymore. So I'm going to stop this. Yeah. Can you see this? Right?
Yeah.
Is the circle complete? Is the circle complete?
No, it's
No.
shrinks
अब अगर
somewhere.
इस व्हील को अगर मैं चलाऊंगी तो ये चलेगा क्या?
नहीं चलेगा.
नहीं ना, बम्पी राइड है ना.
बम्पी राइड है. राइड इज
बम्पी राइड है ना. तो स्मूथ राइड के लिए क्या करना पड़ेगा?
पूरे इक्वल रहना चाहिए.
इक्वल रहना चाहिए. तो आप सोचिए आपके कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स सारे इक्वल हैं क्या? नहीं है. तो मैं 1 में 5 रेटिंग देके माय बॉडी लैंग्वेज इज वेरी गुड बट एवरीथिंग एल्स इज बम्पी.
Yes.
Will not work. That's why we need to work on our communication skills. Right? So there are so many, and I have taken only 8 aspects of it. There are so many others, right? So if the circle is to be, if you need to move the wheel smoothly and effectively, you need to have a balance scoring. See, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean everybody has to reach 5. You can be at 4, you can be at 3, but at least make it equal. That means क्या होता है? लोग सिर्फ एक चीज पे फोकस करने लग जाते हैं. नहीं, I want to improve my written skills. I want to work only on my presentation skills. But they are very poor at conflict management. They don't know how to give and receive feedback. Right? Now that is what makes the loop bumpy. So be a 3, but be an equal 3. No problem. You don't have to be a 5. But the thing is, you have to bring a balance. So don't just concentrate. You will hear a lot of people say, oh, I'm very bad at presentation skills. But presentation is just one aspect of communication. And if you excel in that, what about the others? So if you raise your bar there, you will have to raise the bar in other skills also. Right? Because till you get that balance, you will not be able to move forward. Right? Now see, today was the first day. You have 6 more challenges. Every challenge is going to bring you a new awareness. Tomorrow's is going to be even more interesting. This was just the trailer.
Okay.
Right? This was just the
Picture
trailer.
अभी
This
बाकी है.
अरे बहुत बाकी है. Right? तो अगर उसको आप अटेम्प्ट करेंगे, right? आपको एक अवेयरनेस आएगी कि मुझे किस डायरेक्शन में काम करना है. Right? And that is the purpose of the 7-day challenge, where it will give you an insight as to, because people, in my experience, I have seen people very casually and loosely use this word leadership and communication both, without actually understanding the true intent of it. Right? And leading with influence. Leadership is all about influence. Right? How do I do that? That can only come through your ability to communicate effectively with people. Right? So these 7 days are going to bring you a very good insight of what are the areas which I need to concentrate on. Right? So excited?
Yes.
Yes, yes,
Yes,
great.
Rajesh,
Great.
I'll see you. We are going to meet again next Saturday. Same
So
time,
this
8
is
o'clock.
not tomorrow, next Saturday. When it will be? Next
No,
session?
your challenges will come to you every day.
Acha, okay, okay.
They will
okay.
come to you on your WhatsApp. 8 o'clock, I'll put in the challenge. 10 o'clock, the group will open for your responses. You can put your responses.
Okay.
But we will bring it to a closure next Saturday after the
Okay,
7
fine.
days. So then
Okay.
I will explain the other 6.
Okay.
And if you are keen, I don't mind meeting on a Thursday also. But I know you all are working, right? So we'll meet again on Saturday. We'll explain all, because every challenge will give you an insight. There will be an open message and there is going to be a hidden message. You
Okay.
need to understand that hidden insight.
Okay.
Okay, fine.
And I want to see how many of you get it. Right? Right? So all ready for the challenge?
Yes,
Yes.
Rajesh? Yes. Okay, so I guess looking at Rajesh, I can say good night.
Good
Yeah.
night. Thank you. Thank you
Bye.
so much. Thank you
Bye,
so much.
Rushna. Thanks. Nice,
welcome.
nice session. Yes.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you so
Brajesh.
much.
Bye.
All the best. Thank you
Yes.
for your
Thank
time.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.